Welcome to the Wonder With Me podcast, where I, Dr. Tonia Winchester, invite you to get curious with me about all things mind-body healing, especially how we can unlock the incredible healing power of our unconscious minds, so that we can all get out of stress mode and go back into healing mode. We'll talk about how you can easily create healthy, sustainable self-care habits so that you can calm your mind, sleep deeply, wake rested, and enjoy happy, energized days. Ultimately, so that you can make a bigger difference in your well-being and that of your family and the world around you. These casual chats are for educational purposes only and don't constitute a therapeutic relationship. With all that said, let's get this episode underway. Come wonder with me. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. This is season 1, episode 7, and I am your hostess, coach, and/or Dr. Tonia Winchester. In today's episode, we are going to be digging into the 3 things that are required for change. And this was inspired after a conversation with a client that I'll describe in the first few minutes of the podcast. Ultimately, what you're going to get out of this is how to really stop and pay attention to what it is that you need to do to think differently, behave differently, so that you can get different results in your life and, of course, your health. So we'll cover the 3 requisites of change and also what it's going to look like if you only have 2 of the 3 things in each of the 3 permutations, which is one of my favorite English language words, permutation. Okay, let's not get too crazy off a squirrel tangent here and let us dive in. Let's get going. Let's get wondering. Feeling stuck? You're missing one of these key things. I recently asked a new client, tell me, what do you want? And she gave me a big list. I don't want to be so tired and anxious. I don't want to keep getting pulled back into my old stressful memories. I'm sick of all my worries keeping me up at night. I want to stop feeling so sad all the time. I want to be less reactive and irritable with my family. I'm triggered by every small thing and I don't like how it makes me act towards them. At face value, it's a good list. She's certainly clear on something, but she didn't answer my question at all. Did you notice that? She only told me what she doesn't want. She coherently knows and can explain what she's moving away from. This is a typical stuck pattern that I see with clients when I first meet them. And we all know how easy it can be to stay stuck in old patterns that block us from moving forward and that rob us of the joy and energy that we're seeking. What you might not know consciously, but as soon as you read it in a moment, you'll likely agree with, is that you didn't come out of the womb with these patterns. That means that you learned them at some point in your life, didn't you? And that's true for everybody. Imagine a world where old, unhelpful patterns could be unlearned, and new, affirming patterns could be learned easily, so that you could create healthy habits for your own well-being, your communicating and relating, and even your financial success. What would the ability to learn new patterns open up for you in your life? As a brain-based coach, I know exactly what it takes to unlearn old stuck patterns and learn new ones, and it's actually easier than you may think. My client was having a hard time focusing on a positive future. I can appreciate that because that used to be me, and I see it in so many clients. It can be difficult to imagine happy times down the way, especially when there's been so much negativity in the past. These old patterns carry a lot of inertia, like a well-worn groove on a dirt road. It can be hard to break free of them. My client is doing the exact opposite of the 3 things required for easy change. And it's not her fault. Most of what she's doing is completely unconscious and under the surface of her awareness. Let's go through each one so you can gain the needed awareness about the 3 pillars of change. Number 1, clear the past, aka clearing. She's carrying a lot of baggage from her past and hasn't dealt with it effectively. As a result, the big things from her back then are triggering her to react to little things in her present day. She has to clear unresolved emotions and significant emotional events out of the past if she wants to move forward. There are many ways to do this, but frankly, the quickest way I found after being in the transformation business for 15 plus years is called timeline therapy, which is the work I do with my clients. I'm trained to use very specific words and phrases to communicate directly with the unconscious mind, where all learning, change, and healing happens. Essentially, the work changes how the unconscious mind remembers and recodes your memories of the past so that they no longer impact your current day-to-day. It's fast, gentle, and effective. My clients let go of negative emotions easily and effortlessly, and you can too, can't you? Number 2, take new actions, aka choice. My client's second problem is she's not taking any new action. She keeps doing the same things over and over. You probably know that if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Change can seem like pushing a boulder up a hill if we haven't taken the first step of clearing the past. As long as there's still a neurological link to what happened in your life, new actions seem almost impossible. That's why clearing is the first pillar to change. James Clear writes in his book, Atomic Habits, you learn what to do in the future based on what you were rewarded for doing or punished for doing in the past. The unconscious mind will efficiently choose the path of least resistance. Consequently, change of any kind is uncomfortable, especially if you're still carrying baggage from your past. The second pillar of change is to take massive or consistent new action. Change requires change. You have to do things differently if you want things to be different. Number 3, focus on what you want, aka consciousness. The third problem keeping my client stuck is that she's focused on everything she doesn't want. To make easy changes, you need to focus on what you do want. And it makes sense why we'd be inclined to focus on our problems, because then we're going to be able to find a solution, right? But here's the clincher. Focusing on your problems is the best way to stay stuck in them, neurologically speaking. Nerves that fire together wire together. The more you think about your problem, the more you'll have a problem to think about. Remember that well-worn groove in the dirt road? That's the neural habit of focusing on your problems. You're just making those neural grooves deeper and deeper, strengthening the tendencies for all the things you're trying to get away from. The brain can't process negatives, so when you focus on not being tired, for example, all your mind hears is the command to be tired. Focusing on what you don't want is easy with a past full of baggage, which is also why clearing the past is the first pillar of change. When we clear the past, it makes it easier to focus on all the good things that you actually do want. All 3 of these pillars, clearing, choice, and consciousness, work together. Let's look at what happens when you only have 2 of the 3. When you have choice and consciousness, with these 2 pillars in place, you're focusing on what you want and you're taking massive action to get there, and you feel powerful and in control of everything. You know where you're going. From the outside, it looks like you've got your stuff together, but it's all smoke and mirrors. Inside, you're tormented by stress and anxiety because you haven't cleared the past. Your past is still running the show without your awareness. You may be focused on and taking action on things that you don't even want, but were taught to want. You might not even know what you want until you unshackle yourself from the programming of your past. When you have clearing and consciousness, when you clear the past and focus on what you want, you'll see peace. You get a calm and centered mind, and it feels pretty good actually, but you're living in a dreamland and are only creating your goals in your fantasies, not reaching them in reality. That's because you're not actually making progress, since you're not taking new actions. Your internal world has shifted, but if I were watching a movie of your life, I'd still see you in the opening scene as if no change has happened. You need to do things differently if you want to experience things differently. When you have clearing and choice, when you've cleared the past and you're taking new actions, then you'll feel really good for a short while. You're checking things off the list and you're getting that sweet hit of dopamine that helps you feel like you're making progress. You might even feel a sense of release and lightness since the past is no longer weighing you down. You may even start taking care of yourself, but what are you working towards? Where are you going? It's sort of like throwing self-care spaghetti at the wall. You're unfocused, and because of that, you're not seeing consistent positive results, which makes it really hard to stay motivated and disciplined. You must focus on what you want so you have something to work towards. We all need all three pillars for lasting and happy change. Not just for us, but the people around us, the people we love, and heck, why not, even the people we only like a little. We need to clear the past and focus on what we want and take massive or consistent action to get where we want to go. Addressing the three pillars of change in detail is exactly what I do with my clients. So if you're the type of person who is looking for change and knows you do your best with individual guidance, then I am happy to help. The best way to learn more about my work is to read the book Smiling in the Shower, the swift and simple way to break through burnout and create happy, energized days. You can also reach out to me at toniawinchester.com and let me know where you're at and what you're wanting. Sometimes it's helpful to hop on a discovery call to find out if those two things, where you're at and what you're wanting, is a match for how I love to help. Thank you so much for listening, and may you choose to make all your dreams come true. Well, there you have it. Now, before we head into our adorable little outro, one note to correct after listening to this podcast. The book, Smiling in the Shower, is the first version, and the newest version of it is actually called Breakthrough the Insomnia Cycle. And you may be wondering, how can a book about burnout also be a book about insomnia? And the truth is, I interact with a lot of people that come into what I call the burnout or the insomnia cycle from a lot of different entry points. Here are the main steps of this cycle. There is daytime stress, which can ramp up in some people to anxiety, which then impedes a deep and restful sleep. So people wake up tired, fatigued, irritable, their tolerance for stress goes down, and the cycle continues. So this cycle has many entry points. For some people, they come to me because they're entering at the insomnia point. For other people, they enter at the anxiety point. Some at the stress point, some at the burnout point. And so what people end up discovering, and you may discover that no matter where you enter the cycle, often people's experiences are similar, even if they describe them with different starting points. And really, it's in this similarity that we can come together and break through this cycle once and for all, whether it's called the burnout cycle or the insomnia cycle. So, the new version of the book, Breakthrough the Insomnia Cycle, How to Sleep Deeply, Wake Rested, and Enjoy Happy, Energized Days, is available on my website, toniawinchester.com. It's a great starting place if you're wanting to know more about how to leverage the power of your unconscious mind to go back into healing mode, create sustainable and healthy habits, and enjoy your well-being and relationships. Hey, thanks for wondering with me today. If you've got something good out of this, then please forward this episode along to the people who you know could benefit. Be sure to subscribe, and if you're really keen, you leaving us a rating and review helps us to help more people, so thank you in advance for that. If you're wanting more insights about how you can leverage the power of your unconscious mind to go back into healing mode, head on over to toniawinchester.com, where you'll find my book, Breakthrough the Insomnia Cycle, and other helpful ideas. Thanks again, and we'll connect on the next episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. In the meantime, may you choose to make all of your dreams come true.